Hello, everyone. Welcome back to One Ring. So there may be some noises in the background of cat feeding, but that's fine. It's all fine. Just ignore it. So we've been having a little bit of a think and a chat about what to do about the fact that we're really running very slowly compared to what I thought. Not what I thought, what I hoped we might go, really.
It's not your fault, Matt. It's an alpha system. We didn't know how long combat would take.
It's an alpha system, and it's LOTRO's fault, really, when you think about it. It's LOTRO's fault for packing so much juicy storytelling in. No. So I think what we'll probably do, we have various options. I could snip bits out, but that wouldn't be as satisfying, would it? We could run late, but, well, we don't want to. So what we'll probably do is we'll probably set up a part 2 for this, folks. And I have in my mind quite a nice bit we could split into the middle. So you know what? We're going to do that. We're going to split this in half, and we'll do a part 2 at some point. I don't know if we'll do it. I don't think we'll do it in the next, I don't think we'll do it in the next one-shot slot. Because we don't have a full party for that. But we will do it. We'll aim to do it before the next one-shot slot on some night or some weekend or something. We'll find a day where we're all free and we'll do a part 2. How about that? How does that sound?
Sounds good.
Sounds good. Okay. So we'll pick up where we left off. You are atop Bromway's Folly. There are the wolves have all been driven off or killed. The wolf master lies dead somewhere in the undergrowth and the foliage below.
The immediate reaction to the shot that Winky took is me turning around and just going, "Good shot, Winky."
Winky's just like jumping up and down. Ha! Have at you, you fluffy beast! And then he's going to realise that she's acting a bit childish, and then just like hurry off, saying, "We've got to get this Kingsfoil to." I have forgotten the guy's name. That's terrible. The ranger.
It's okay.
Yes.
Only known him a day.
Anyway, yeah.
I guess before we head off, I will turn to Herb, who was examining the kind of banner, and say, "Should we tear it down? Do you think?"
I think we should take it back as evidence. Although, if Cobb was in on this, I worry about the captain too. Not really sure who to speak to about this, but I think at the very least we should see if we can find the. Let's see if we can dislodge this banner from this place and take it back to Archer. Perhaps.
He said that if Cobb spoke well of us, that would put us in good stead in his eyes. He obviously trusts Cobb. If we go back and tell him that Cobb's involved, he's not going to believe us, or he's going to think very unfavorably of us.
Or he's already in on it. I think we need to go to the people rather than through the official channels. Let's.
Right, but if we take this banner back as you suggest, will it not bring evil with it? Perhaps we should be worried about that.
Okay, let's snap it in half and then take it back. I have no idea how totems work, but actually, do I know how totems work?
Do I know how totems
you're
work?
muted.
Definitely not. No.
Okay.
I don't know how they work.
Sure.
None of us do.
Totems, how do they work?
Okay. Well, I
agree
think
to the snapping suggestion.
I'm going to try and snap it in half, and
One of you has an axe.
Actually, I've got an axe, so I'll just hack it down. And then I think I think we should go to maybe. Should we bring back the Wolfmaster if we can find him?
Can we find him? Can we look over the edge and see him? You're muted.
Sorry. You look. You can look over the edge, and you can see roughly where he may have fallen.
Is it worth it? You think?
I just games master really thing. If you bring him back, you're just here's a corpse of a man. I'm not sure how it proves anything.
I wasn't in any way. He doesn't look like he's not carrying any.
He looked really rough, but he didn't look like like some kind of evil being.
Otho looks over the edge, having a look at him, and just goes, "I don't think there's any point. The banner should do."
Okay.
They'll only think we've murdered a man. If anything, it could be damaging.
Right.
I do like. I don't normally like to read out comments because I like the flow. But Steve's of "Hi, we brought this totem that attracts wolves back as evidence. Should we put it next to the orphanage?" Is yeah.
Well,
while we're kind of marching off the ruins as well, I think Otho is looking and like scratching away and trying to remove the little divots on the shield. Not my shield,
Like
not it from the bite marks.
Yeah, the bite
Very
marks.
upset by those bite marks. Yeah.
So did we decide that we were snapping the totem in half and bringing it back, or just snapping it in half? Which
I was gonna, I'm gonna chop it into pieces. I think we do need some evidence. There is a risk that this will bring dark things, but it's already bringing terrible beasts to this area, and that's, I don't think that. I think that we need people on our side. I think we need people on our side. So that's the plan I'd go for.
Matt, does it still give us the heebie-jeebies?
Yeah, I think it does. I think like as much of that is like the general look of the thing with the bones hanging off it and blood soaked on it and the like. So I think it probably does. Yeah. But that's why it's still standing, like, and if Herb is going to, you said you're going to hack it down, presumably with your axe, you're just going to give a great swing and chop it in half. Yeah, you chop it in half, it tumbles to the ground, and the rag that was coming off it like a flag kind of like drifts to the ground and kind of gently undulates in the wind on top of the folly. And yeah, if you pick that up, it definitely seems diminished in some sense. But whether that's just the sense you get from it, like being chopped down.
I have an addition to this plan. I think we should try to get to Cobb before we go to the village. We should try to interrogate him about what's going on. What's he doing? Because he was only by himself. I think we could overpower him and get some answers.
He was not by himself.
Oh,
he had one of the guardsmen with him, feeding the sheep.
I think if we go and try to intimidate him again, it could just look bad for us. If he's a trusted man in the village and he starts telling people that we've gone and done something awful, I think the best thing to do is go present our evidence, make sure everybody sees it, and then if Cobb is trying to contradict us, he's got evidence he has to fight rather than putting us on the back foot.
I think you make a good point.
We're in the right here.
I think you're right about this. I don't think we should touch Cobb on the way back. It makes us look worse. But sadly, I don't think we have much hope. Look at that. The guy, he said that Cobb's his best man when we were in the village.
All right, let's go then.
It's his best man's word against some strangers who just wandered in, who he already thinks are troublemakers, bringing back some ragged banner.
I agree.
Yeah. And as an added concern, we'll be able to get the Kingswell back to the Ranger as fast as possible.
Yes, that's a priority, I think. And I'll help fire up any more Kingswell we can do before we head off.
Absolutely. There are great bunches of it around. You can pick up great sheaves of the stuff, essentially. So you march down the steps of Bromway's Folly and off back through the white flowered meadow to the north. I'm assuming we're skirting around the sheep farm. We're kind of heading away from it so Calder Cobb doesn't see you returning to Archit. You head north. It doesn't take you long. 20-25 minutes later, it's reaching, maybe noontime around now, and you walk through the gates of Archit, and ahead of you can see the two hobbits, Selndine and Mundo, and Amdir kind of still like leant half conscious against the wall of the Mad Badger.
How's he doing, Selndine?
He doesn't seem very well at all.
We brought the herbs, I mean the weeds.
You can see as you kind of walk up to him, Amdir kind of raises his face and kind of it needs to be chewed.
Yeah, okay. Hearing that, I kind of recognize what he's trying to do. So I'll just start trying to crunch it up.
Get the juices of it flowing.
Yeah, exactly. And then I'll just try and like press it into the wound as lightly as I can.
Yeah,
in a way that
like
isn't going to make it want to scream.
Yeah, like a poultice.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I remembered as well, like, in my equipment, I have a liquor to infuse strength.
Okay.
So I will give him a bit of that liquor.
Sure.
I imagine it tastes somewhat medicinal.
He kind of drinks a small amount of it and then starts with a racking cough. Definitely seems distressed at the notion of swallowing some of it, and just shakes his head and says, "I'm sorry." And at that point, Winky kind of like presses the king's foil into the wound, and he gives a kind of strangled and sort of clutches at it, but clutches kind of over Winky's hand and then under it, and he's kind of desperately pressing the king's foil against the wound, which seems to be the blackish purple discoloration on his flesh seems to be spreading across kind of over to his chest and down his arm a little bit.
I'd also probably want to try and bind that with some kind of makeshift bandage, just so that it stays on there, basically.
Amdir kind of nods and says, Thank you. So, what has happened?
It seems this goes deeper than we thought. We were asked to help out fighting some wolves. The wolves were driven by a man here, it looks like, and the man has something to do with the town guard.
We found
Very concerning.
We found this totem that we think might have been drawing the wolves to it, and bad spirits. You ever seen anything like it?
I have seen it's like He kind of takes the totem off you and kind of scrunches it up in his hand and sort of presses it into the ground more because of the pain he's in than anything else. And he says, "Tell me of this treachery."
The man we saw with the totem, he said said that one of his men in the village, Cobb, who was the one who told us about the wolves, the one who had the trouble with the wolves, he said, "Cobb told me you were coming." That they've got, I don't know how he could have known. We came straight here, but he mentioned Cobb specifically, I think, as being in league with him.
And Cobb is a good friend of the captain.
Treachery and ignorance. I cannot decide which is more dangerous now. If Cobb is his trusted ally, I do not think Brackenbrook will believe that he tried to have you ambushed.
That is, if he isn't even involved in all this somehow, though I don't know what he would have to gain from wolf attacks on the village.
Do you know anyone else in this village? Anybody else who holds any kind of power or influence who we might be able to go to?
I do not know of any specific individual, but there is someone else you may be able to talk to. Though I do not think they will be welcoming of you.
Who is this?
I did some asking around while you were gone, and there is a Blackwall brigand in the stocks across the lane from here, down through that gate. He's being held for highway robbery. Question him about Cobb. Maybe he'll give something up.
Thank you.
We'll certainly try. I can only hope they let us in to speak to him.
You can hope.
I suppose we'd better be quick. If Cobb knew enough to set up an ambush, he could be moving quickly. We should get this information as quickly as we can.
And you rest. Let the herb do its work. Hopefully it can help.
He kind of grunts and leans his head back against the wall of the Mad Badger and seems to be either unconscious or asleep within seconds.
As he falls asleep, I look around and go, our only effective ally around here, and this has happened to him.
Are Celandine and Amanda
Yeah, they're standing right there.
Yeah, they are there.
He did use the word effective.
Both those are a little harsh.
Okay.
Yeah, so before we head off, it might be worth just saying to them, like, make sure he's safe. Like, obviously, there's something strange going on here.
And you are effective allies.
Celandine nods and says, "You don't need to worry. We'll look after him just as well as we can, won't we? Won't we, Mundo?" Mundo kind of waves a hand and goes, "Ah."
What's his problem? Okay, let's go to the stocks.
Yeah. So, let's hurry down there and ask this guy.
Is there any point in talking to this captain? If we want to talk to the captain at all, perhaps we should do it first.
Not
It's even more dodgy
yet.
if we go to the stocks.
Not yet, I don't think. I think we need to get more information.
You want to get a mission or something?
Yeah. Well,
The captain's not happy with us. There's no way he'll let us speak to anybody else after this.
Yeah,
Unless we get thrown in the stocks ourselves.
especially if we're talking down his best man. It's
Who
we need more
probably
information.
has not put in a good word with us.
Oh yeah.
With him about us. Let's hurry over. Are the stocks like an open thing in a courtyard, or are they?
Well, you'll have to go find out. But there is another kind of lane leading off, that leads under kind of arched houses, and you get the impression that at some point they were just leaning slightly towards each other, and then had a little bridge section built into them by some enterprising inhabitants. And you walk over there, and it's not far at all, just kind of a 30-second or so walk, and you end up in a little courtyard that seems to have an iron gate over on one side that leads out of Archet, maybe into some of the kind of stockade somewhere. But within the courtyard is sort of a raised stone platform in front of what may be the jailer's house or something along that. And there is an individual in the stocks, and sat nearby him, looking quite kind of calm and sort of very at ease, despite the fact the individual in the stocks is shouting all kinds of profanity and threats, is a youngish woman in a blue dress with blonde hair, who's quite calmly kind of embroidering some kind of clothing for someone, presumably.
I'll walk up and greet her. Hello there. I was wondering if I might have a word with this fellow.
Well,
is that all right with you?
You can have a word with him, but you won't have a good time of it.
Yeah, I know it is the way with some folks, but needs must.
As you're doing this, the individual in the stocks is kind of flailing his hands futilely and sort of banging away inside them and ranting and railing against Archet and the villagers thereof.
Does this woman look like a guard, or is she just...
No, not particularly. She says, "Well, I suppose I should check first." Ned! A man comes out of the house behind her wearing sort of a very simplified version of the city guard outfits. He's young and has a kind of friendly look on his face and a shock of blonde hair. And he kind of walks out and looks down and says, "Visitors? What's this, Peg?" And Peg says, "To talk to him."
Oh, hello, Ned. I was wondering if it wouldn't be too much trouble if we could try and have a little chat with this fellow over here. I think he might know some things that are kind of useful. You see, I'm looking for my son, and I'd like some. I think he might know something about it.
Well, all right. I don't see why not.
Just wanted to check first,
Peg kind of stands up and kisses him on the cheek and walks inside. And he says, "You don't mind if I'm here? I technically shouldn't really be leaving him unguarded. I'm sure you folks are fine and upstanding, but I don't know you."
Sure. Absolutely. That's totally fine.
Okay. Well, in that case, we have a picture. There we go.
I might try to just, if he's up for it, like have a bit of a chit chat with the guard while Herb is chatting to the guy in the stocks. Unless he's like obviously just if I keep trying to chat and he keeps shutting it down to like listen in.
No, he seems perfectly happy for you to do that. Are you kind of doing it to kind of occupy him so that he might not be paying attention to the conversation so much?
A little bit, yeah, but I'll also maybe gently probe a little bit around, like, how it's been busy around here for you then lately, or what's this guy, like a bit of if there's anything that he kind of lets out as well.
Yeah.
Usual.
Well, why don't we? I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll do that with a persuade roll, but first we'll do the Herb conversation, because I feel like if Herb knows how well that's going, he might adjust it somehow, and I don't want him to do that. I want him to just have the conversation with the full awareness that maybe the jailer will hear every word, or maybe Ned the jailer will not hear every word. So,
can I assist Herb with them?
Yeah, absolutely.
Ingress, so.
But we'll come back to that after the conversation between Herb and the bandit, who, as you walk over to him, Ned shouts out, "Otto, be a good boy. Maybe you'll get some pudding later." And Otto's just kind of like rattling the stocks and just swearing wildly.
Yeah, so I guess I'll go up to Otto. Otto, is it? I take. Hello, sir. My name is Herb. I was wondering if you might help me with something.
Herb, who the hell's are you? Why do I care? Let me go.
Well, maybe I can arrange something like that if if you help us out. I can't really there's an ongoing investigation that we're.
I'm not interested. I'm not playing your games. Let me go. I'm a friend of Calder Cobb's, and I'm innocent at that. This idiot jailer won't heed me.
A friend of Calder Cobb. Perhaps I can send word to him. What would you have me say?
Tell him to let me go.
Well, yeah, perhaps that can be arranged. But, like, how do you know Calder Cobb? I mean, they're not likely to let you go just on a rumor that you're his friend.
Lots of people know lots of folks.
Well, that's interesting. That's I might say that's a little evasive. Perhaps we can come to an agreement. You can ask me a question, and I'll ask you a question, and we'll just both answer honestly about how everything's going, and then maybe I can get the word to Calder Cobb that you're stuck here, and he should come and help.
It's not like I can walk away.
Well, I'll take that as a yes. So, we have reason. I mean, look, and I'll try and lower my voice at this point. Between you and me, I was told by Captain Brackenbrook that I could do a certain deal with you, but you gotta trust me. You gotta let me in. Is he just not buying it?
He kind of is trying to tilt his head sideways and just kind of look at you under kind of hooded lids as you kind of say that. You think you know, don't you? You think you know what's going to happen. Don't be smug. It's too late. By now the gears of war are turning in the north. And quick. Soon I'll be free. And you'll be the one in shackles. Or worse.
Can I chime in there?
Well, that depends. Are you helping Ingrid?
No, I would be helping her, but I think Otho said that it was going to be staying.
Okay.
Staying
I'm
sure.
Yep.
So yeah, I'll probably just nip in with worse. That's that rings a bell actually, because worse is what happened to one of Cobb's friends up by the Folly. He was messing with some dark things up there, and we had to take care of it. Now, I'm sure that you would be less confrontational than that man was. And that might mean that things don't escalate to that point.
If you think that I'm the one in danger, you've got another thing coming. There's vengeance coming on the North Wind.
Well, if you're not going to be cooperative, I think at this point I'm going to back off. I don't think I'm going to show him the flag or anything.
Sure. Ingrid, how did we do there? Why don't you make a persuade roll, which I believe is favoured for you as well? And Otho,
I'll help.
You're helping, so okay, that's a spend of one hope, please. And Ingrid, you can take another die there.
So I already had 3 pips for it, so that's 4 now with 8 on my feet die. 10, 17, 20 total.
I mean, I imagine that beats your wits target number handily. So, Ned seems quite happy to engage you in perfectly pleasant conversation. Is there anything in particular you're talking about?
I'll maybe just try and ask him a little, just a little bit more about the town and who some of the people are, see if he drops names like Cobb as people that are friendly or not, and if there's been any funny kind of goings on recently, as a bit of I'm a newcomer, I'm a tourist sort of.
Sure. He definitely kind of, he talks about, he'll happily talk about the town. He mentions Brackenbrook, and he mentions, you should go to the Mad Badger if you want a good drink here, and he says how nice the Vale is, how peaceful it is, until the Black Wolves started kicking up a fuss a few years ago. That is, he doesn't speak of them he speaks of them in very derogatory terms, and you get a sense of alarm from him about them. Kind of, he drops kind of veiled comments on how he thinks perhaps they're getting worse and we need to be careful and things like that. As soon as you mention Calder Cobb, his demeanor changes very much. He becomes very sort of dismissive and cold about him. Clearly, he's not a fan of Calder Cobb.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
or he's acting like he isn't.
Yeah, if he seems legit in terms of the way he's complaining about the these new brigands on the horizon, I might also tell him about our experience, or at least the high level of our experience previous night, to say that we'd had an encounter with them, and we don't think very favorably of them either, kind of thing, and very very we're with you kind of discussion.
He kind of nods and looks around a bit and says, well, for what it's worth, I do believe what you've come to Archet to tell. It's unprecedented around these parts, but all signs are showing that the Blackwalls, well, they're getting worse. How do they have the means?
I might wait until Herb's done chatting to the other guy, but then maybe sort of motion that it would be good to maybe speak privately with him.
He kind of nods and sort of kicks the side of Otto's stocks and says, "Don't go anywhere." And Otto goes kind of wild at this, starts screaming and swearing at him, and he kind of beckons you into what you assume to be the jailhouse. Well, the jailhouse actually is essentially like a one-room large house where the corner of it has been separated off with iron bars, built into the floor up to the ceiling, and a little kind of pallet in it, presumably for Otto or other people in prison to sleep in, and the rest of it is quite a nice, pleasant little house with a fireplace roaring and some food prepared on the table. And Peg is now sat by the fire, kind of carrying on with her embroidery. And she kind of smiles at you as you come in, and he kind of indicates for you to all sit down around the table.
Thank you. Truth be told, we're rather worried about there being something pretty imminent. And, well, we found something just now out by the folly. And I'll maybe indicate to Herb, if Herb still has the banner, to unfurl, if Herb's the one still carrying it, to unfurl that and say...
Can we... okay, yeah. If you trust him, I trust him. And then I sort of show the banner, the broken bit of the banner that we've got.
From a roleplay perspective, I imagine me and Ingrid wouldn't have heard the conversations you had as well.
No, you definitely wouldn't
know about him revealing.
Sure.
There was a man there, and he seemed to be. He said it's something to do with summoning the wolves, and he also mentioned Cobb as being an ally of his. He seemed dangerous and utterly threatening, and he's gone now. But obviously, Cobb's still here, and there's something coming. But it's not just an external threat. There's people in this village can't be trusted.
We need the captain on side in this. He won't believe a word we're saying about all this that's going on.
No, he won't believe you. Look, Calder Cobbs are wrong, and I've known it for years. The captain's son, John, he knew it. They had a big fight about it, and John hasn't been in the village for nigh on 3 years now because of it. Just lives out in the hunting lodge with his friends. Look, I am very sympathetic to what you're trying to do here, and I want to help you how I can, but to a certain degree, my hands are tied. The captain, he's a good man, and what he says goes, and he's put his trust in Calder, a man he's known since he was a boy.
Your Otto out there, he mentioned something coming from the north, a dark wind. Obviously,
I'm sorry,
any idea?
I've heard him rant similar things myself. I don't know. I don't know anything of these goings on. I'm just a simple man here. Me and Peg do what we can. We keep any ill folk here safe in the jail, and then send them on to Bree when the time comes. But I just don't know anything about these things. I'm not even a particularly handy man with a sword. Look, you need other people to persuade Brackenbrook that you're in the right.
Do you think his son would help? Or
maybe, but they haven't talked in 3 years. I don't know. And the disagreement they had was about Calder. Look, there's a farmer down further south, past the folly. Cal Sprigley. Go talk to her. She has Brackenbrook's ear most of the time. And she knows. I've talked to her about it when she's come into town to trade her goods. Maybe she can help. Maybe she can't. I'm not sure what else to tell you, though.
Thank you, that's useful.
Do you think John would, if the town were in danger, do you think he would come to help, even if it's not to try and persuade the captain of anything, but do you think he would come to lend a sword? Is he handy with a sword?
I think if Archit were in danger, then all the might and fury of the Blackwolds wouldn't stop John Brackenbrook from coming to help.
Good.
Can you tell us where the hunting lodge is?
It's off to the east.
but we want to get Cal first.
I'd say so. If you get Cal, you might get the captain. If you get the captain, maybe we can nip it in the bud before it gets worse.
I do believe
father and son reconciliation.
Sorry, guys, you'll need to talk one at a time there. Sorry, Inga, do you want to go first?
Just a little like under the breath sort of, and maybe a father-son reconciliation.
Sam?
So, that completely threw me off what I was going to say. Yes, I do believe you that the captain is a good man, but him putting his trust in the wrong people could get everyone in this village killed. We have to solve this quickly.
I couldn't agree with you more. But here we are. And no one wants to believe the worst until it happens.
Are there others in the guard than you?
Not that I know of. Dirk sometimes tries to keep an eye on him. But everyone just wants to keep the captain happy. He's a good man and he looks after the town. And no one thinks that Calder Cobb is going to cause any problems, even if he is a wrong one. You know?
So if we sway the captain, we sway the town.
I think you got a good chance.
Okay then. Sounds simple, I suppose, if we can do that.
He nods and sort of shares kind of a little food with you. And presumably then you head off.
Really, really tasty stuff here. This is some good stew.
He Peg says, "Thank you." I love this recipe.
On the way out, I guess when we're heading out towards Cal, if we are going past Amdir and Hobbits,
You have to exit the town.
Yeah, we'll give them just a quick update to say we think the captain's a good man, but he needs convincing, and we're working on it.
Celandine kind of nods solemnly. Mundo gives a sort of roll of the eyes, and you think Amdir is unconscious until you kind of maybe stand up to proceed onwards, and then he says quite softly from the shadows under the inn, "Alas, for peaceful folk everywhere, it is an enormous task to convince people that evil folk with evil intentions will commit evil deeds." And then he's asleep or unconscious again.
As we pass by, I think I turn to Winky and just say, I hate that there is nothing more we can do for him.
We've tried our best.
As you kind of move away, Celandine does kind of jog over, kind of jog up to catch up with you. And as she does so, she kind of tugs especially on kind of Winky's sleeve and say, "Amdir, he looks so changed since last night. I almost feel he's naught but a shadow when I look at him, like he isn't really there."
Whatever wound he has, it's like nothing I've seen before.
You made a salve of kingsfoil for his wound. Look, my Gamma always used a different remedy when a young brandybuck would get a nasty splinter. Bilberry tea. I smelled bilberries by the water to the east of here as we passed in the night. They're in season. If you bring some back, I'll make a tea for him.
I'll keep it in mind. I'll keep an eye out.
She nods and kind of turns and scampers back over to where Amdir is leant against the wall.
Let's go. Perhaps if we find some bilberries on the way, we should just bring them back immediately. But if not, let's make haste to Cal.
Okay. So you set off again from the gates, heading south again. I'm assuming again we are perhaps going wide of that sheep farm on the path to the south.
Yeah.
As we go though, although because you were given the directions to the south, but I'll happily do a little retcon roll to see if any of you wanted to ask people for directions to Cal Sprigley's farm, or even Ned.
Yeah,
Yep.
It probably would have made sense to ask Ned while we were there, I suppose.
Yeah, and I think that's fine. I think he would have said, and he did say just follow the path south, and kind of the farm is both audible and smellable by being kind of just off the path, and there's a little footpath leading off that'll take you up there. But he says it's a good way past the folly, so be prepared for an hour or two to head out there and maybe come back. And as he walks out, I think I don't need to like roll for like for you to avoid the sheep farm or anything like that. But you know what? I'm going to ask for an explore roll for you to find your way comfortably to the farm, because this is, you're heading out a ways at this point, sort of past through the Vale of Archet. So who has the best explore? Because let's just go with them.
Explore 1.
I've got two.
One for me as well.
2 and favoured, so I think that's me.
I think that's Ingrid. Why don't you give me? And are you spending hope or anything like that?
Yeah, let's go for a hope. So that's a 12. That's a Gandalf on my feet.
That's a Gandalf.
First up, right off the bat. So
good stuff. Yeah. You find your way comfortably there. The path south seems, it's very straightforward. You don't see any significant kind of landmarks on the way other than kind of the Vale rolling either side of you. This path, as it's going south now, is taking you closer to like the rocky outcropping of the hills that surround the Vale of Archet, and it's like rearing up to your right. And you get a distinctive sense that the Vale is obviously this protected, almost little hamlet of Idil in the middle of the rolling wider pastoral landscape of Breland. But it does also occur to you that anything that is safe and protected is also in some ways a trap. You find the footpath off to the left of the sort of slightly larger road that you're following, and it leads up, and you do indeed hear and smell the farm before you see it. It has a number of pigs, some horses, and some sheep and goats and cows roaming around, and you can see kind of an open gateway onto where there's a scatter of farm buildings, and you can see in the middle of them, you can see a group of people kind of sat around, or stood around, I should say, talking, including one woman of kind of later middle years with long tied back hair, who seems to be kind of giving orders to the others, and kind of looks over and sees you approaching, and notably they all immediately reach for weapons at their side as you start approaching. They don't attack you, but they look very wary.
Try and make peaceful hand signs.
Yeah, I'll put my hands up. Yeah.
Maybe just shout like, we mean no harm.
The woman kind of walks forward a little bit and turns to the others and says, "Put your blades away. No hobbits in the Black Walls."
We spoke to Ned.
Ned Pruner.
We are friends with Ned back in the town in Archet.
At the jail. Ned Pruner.
Yes, that's the one.
What's his wife's name?
Peg. Makes a lovely stew.
Really nice.
All right. Come sit here. She indicates where there's like a couple of tree stumps that have been like hacked away and seem to have been like smoothed over for people to sit on, and kind of indicates for you to sit there. I'm Cal. What are you wanting?
Just the person we wanted to meet.
So are the guards still like really close by in earshot, or has she like properly sent them away?
Yeah, they've kind of wandered off a little bit, but are keeping an eye on it. They definitely, incidentally, they don't have the look and bearing of. They are armed, but they do not have the look and bearing of guard. They look like farm hands. Essentially, you can see their weapons are like a chopping axe, or like a hoe or something, like that kind of thing.
Yeah, I'm going to be straight with you, since I think I can trust you. We need your help to convince Captain Brackenbrook that there is a terrible danger coming to this town. And he seems to be in league with a man of ill repute, Calder Cobb, who
when you mentioned Calder Cobb.
Yeah, well, I had that same sort of impression after he sent us into a trap to get us killed by a man with wolves. We dispatched of that man, but I think we have a common cause. Is there a particular reason that you folks were so jumpy?
Well, about that, she kind of leans over, puts her foot up on one of the tree stumps and leads towards you and says, if I tell you that you and your ill news was the best thing to happen to us today, would that give you some sense of what a rough day it's been around here?
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
We haven't had a great day either.
What's happened?
Blackwolves tried to attack us this morning. We drove them off. They're gearing up for something. They're armed. They've got a goal. They wanted my farm, and I reckon they want Archit.
Yep.
There's a darkness about them. They used to be just ruffians. Young lads and lasses who'd run away from home. Maybe for an exciting life in the woods. Something's happened to them.
It's the same with the wolves. There wasn't just a normal man there. He created some sort of totem, and there was a banner. It seemed to be summoning darkness in an awful kind of a way. Like I think we've experienced something very similar just this morning.
Well, I don't know anything about this kind of sorcery and witchery. What I know is that I need to defend my farm. But now that you've come along, I've got a proposal for you. The next town over, southwest, no more than 2 or 3 hours walk. Combe. Short journey. On good days. They have soldiers. More guards than we do. And closely linked to Bree. If the Bree Guard come out here, or just maybe enough soldiers from Combe, we can deal with it before they get too excited. As I say, I need to guard this farm. But if you go and make haste, the road has some brigands, but I think you can make it safe to Combe. Bring their soldiers back. Job's done.
Do you think they'll be receptive to what we have to say? The captain here certainly wasn't.
You tell them Cal Sprigley says. They'll come running.
And if we bring these soldiers back to your farm, would you be agreeable to coming back to Archit with us to have a word with the captain? He'll listen to you.
If you bring people to guard my farm for me, I'll come straight back to Brackenbrook and I'll tell him. Don't get me wrong. Brackenbrook's all right. But for years he's put too much faith in that snake. Do we have a deal?
Agreed.
Thank you so much for your help.
There is no pandemic in Middle Earth. So, yep. Cal spits on her hand and holds it out.
I spit on my hand immediately and shake it.
Freeland handshake.
Yeah. I'm rustic. This is what this means.
I hope everyone appreciates, by the way, that the Vale of Archit apparently contains every regional accent for the UK, or for England, rather.
Are we in Scotland yet? That's the next village over.
Yeah. That's Combe, yeah. Bringing in Johnny for that one. Yeah.
Okay. Well,
if we get directions and stuff as well from to make sure we're heading the right direction.
Yeah, and then if it's a 2 to 3 hour walk, what time is it getting to, Matt?
It's probably about kind of 2 in the afternoon, maybe something like that.
Okay, yeah. So we should probably head off now so that we get back before it starts getting dark.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. Yeah.
As I say, it's like spring, early summer, so it's you're looking at quite a late sundown, but it's absolutely, it's a very good idea to do that. Okay. Cal kind of nods and seems happy with the deal well done. She just tells you to keep going south on that road you were on originally and just keep going.
Are there wolves on the road?
She said that there was some bandits on around the road because that's where they prey on people, but she didn't seem worried that you wouldn't be able to take it. They probably wouldn't attack an armed group of people. Is the idea. So you head back on the road. Is there any kind of are we just heading on? Sort of any? Do you want to have any conversation or any sort of interaction or intention?
That was a good stew. Oh man, I really need to get that recipe. Oh man, I am kicking myself that I didn't get it when I had the opportunity. Maybe that was the last. Oh, that was such a good stew.
They're like, Otho's wandered off from this conversation a bit and maybe gone to find some berries from a bush or something to pick for Jane.
Sure.
Maybe we should have sent some off to Amdir. That really might have perked him right up, mightn't it?
Absolutely. As you're wandering on, you know what, Holly? Do you want to give me an awareness roll?
Sure. Let's give it a go.
Or if you want, do you prefer scan?
No, I prefer awareness.
Well, you prefer awareness.
I've got more dice in awareness,
but the target number's
but a higher target number, so it's kind of 6.5 dozen.
Well, do you want to use hope, or does anyone want to be helping and looking around for bilberries?
I'll do a scan and I'll use a hope.
Sure,
probably.
I'm happy to help as well if.
Obviously, it's more hope being used, but you absolutely can, yeah.
Yeah, if you're sure, then yeah.
So that's an extra 2 dice and 1 hope off for each of you.
Cool.
And you know what? Actually, before we spend the hope, I should probably say that I was going to give a +2 dice to the roll. So do you want to not spend the hope and just get the same bonus for free?
Sure.
You're looking for bilberries and you're a botanist, so yeah.
Yeah, sure. We'll go with that, which means that it's the same roll that I just rolled, which just passes with a 15.
Awesome. As you're wandering to the south, you pass along. It's obviously not the lake or the kind of the water that Celandine described, because she said that was to the east. But you do pass like a kind of medium-sized pond. That's quite still and pleasant, dragonflies buzzing over it, surrounded by reeds. And yeah, as you pass, you notice that there are several low bushes of quite perfect-looking bilberries that you can snaffle as many as you want from.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, I'll grab some and I'll wrap them in muslin so that they don't get too squished and horrible.
Too squishy.
Yeah, because I'll need to get them back.
Yeah.
Once you've spotted the bilberries, Otho will come and try to help, but then just happen to eat one of the berries, realize it's just really tasty, and kind of end up eating most of them gathered.
I mean, you are a hobbit, and you have not had second breakfast, let alone 11s. So, yeah, absolutely. You carry on walking to the south, and can everyone please give me your choice of awareness or explore roll? I think both of those are good. I wouldn't spend hope on this. It's just like a reactive roll I'd like the group to make, just to see if anyone notices things. Either awareness or explore, your choice.
I rolled 11, so no.
Fail for me too.
Yeah, I too rolled an 11, so no.
And I rolled a 12, which is also a fail.
Okay. Good stuff all round. So you round a corner, and ahead of you is what looks like the edge of the Vale of Archit. You can see the rocky outcropping kind of lowering down on your right-hand side and curving around on the other side. And the actual gap out of the Vale of Archit isn't that wide all told. You'd say it's about 100 meters as it goes out onto the rolling grasslands and fields of Breeland as a whole, and south and onto Combe. Now, there is a problem with this, and the problem is that you suspect that the fence that stretches across this gap out into the general area of Breeland, you think that palisade is usually there because it looks very similar to the one that surrounds Archit. However, what you suspect usually isn't there is in the gap where people would normally proceed through it is a mass of piled up wood timbers, overturned wagons, and sort of general stone and wood wreckage. Standing in front of it are a group of ragged and desperate-looking individuals that you would place money on being black wolves just from the look of them. On the other side of that barricade, you can, through the gaps in it, you can see further ones of them roaming around, and you can see a number of them perched on top of the barricade as well with bows, and on the other side with bows as well. John has an image here. What I would say is, because this isn't a video game, I've had to add more people to it to make sure you don't try. So if John brings up that image, but this is generally what the barricade looks like, and there are a number of black wolves in front of it. But in our world, there's more of them over the other side and standing with bows and sat on top of the piles of wood with bows as well. You would estimate at a look that there are between maybe 25 and 30 black wolves here. The one in the lead has noticed you, because none of you made that roll, so you've just kind of stumbled upon this. He takes a couple of paces forwards and just kind of crosses his arms and looks at you with just kind of faint smile on his face.
I think we'll all just immediately stop. I'll definitely stop.
What do we do?
Can't
Turn around, walk back immediately. Maybe they think that the world scared us off, and maybe try and take some steps back so I'm a bit more out of sight, and then see if I don't know if there's anywhere like in trees or whatever we could try and be a bit kind of stealthier to sort of like hide, but just keep a look to see if they're like following us.
Sure, yeah. Yeah, you kind of start moving away. As soon as you do, the black wolves, a great mass of them, start jeering at you and shouting. You hear them sort of shouting the usual, "Yeah, you run off scared." But you hear a couple of things from the general jeers that give you slight chills. You hear one of them jeering, "Archer's time is nearly done. Not long now." And another one steps out from the group and says, "It's coming! It's coming from the north! You never saw it!"
It's like they've barricaded the whole place in.
If you want to find a place to maybe either sneak... They don't seem to be wanting to follow you, but do you still want to find a place to kind of secrete yourself and maybe observe them, or just gather your wits?
For me, it was mostly just to check if they were following, like if we backed away, were we going to be followed or not?
Yeah, I figured if they weren't following, we probably just go a bit further away and then talk for a minute to see what we should do.
They don't seem to have any intention of following you.
Okay. So I guess we stop and just say, "What do we do now then? No going through that."
Maybe there's a way through somewhere else. Maybe we can find a different route.
I guess we have no choice, but the palisade looked pretty sturdy.
The other option is we can... Well, no. I don't think we can go through those people or bluff our way.
That many of them would maybe be enough to take the village down.
Sure.
Well, the other thing, of course, is if we could go back to Cal. If we explain what we've seen, she understands that there's no chance of us getting anybody from the next town over. Defending her farm is useless against these people. We've got to think about the bigger picture and saving Archer. Do you think it's worth a try?
Perhaps first we should have a little look along other parts of the palisade, as Herb suggested. Maybe there is another way through.
You could literally see the entire palisade from... it's not much longer than what you can see in that image. The other way just stretches around the same distance. You can see the whole length of it.
And at the end,
you can see it's a solid palisade, and if you can see the length of it, the black wolves there can also see the length of it.
What's kind of at the ends of the palisade then? What is it?
Big rocky cliffs.
Okay.
Sure. So there's not... as far as we can tell, there's no way around.
This seems to be the only way out of the Vale of Archit, and they seem to have it pretty well covered.
I think Ingrid had it right then. I think we need to head back to Cal and tell her to abandon her farm. And
looks like it. I don't think she's going to like that news, but this certainly is worse than I thought.
Yeah.
That sounds like the decision of the group then. Okay. You turn around and start solemnly walking back north, now aware that, like it or not, out of your control, your fate and the fate of Archit seems sealed to whatever you can achieve. And I think that's a nice place. We discussed splitting this and doing a part 2. I think that's a very good place to put that cut in. Oh, so there we go. That worked out well. I think I'm quite comfortable with doing that, like a part 1 and a part 2. This will be fun, right? So, yeah, thank you to everyone for everyone out there watching. We've had some pretty solid numbers for us. You know, role-playing doesn't get a lot of numbers on Twitch, all told. And thank you for joining us for this. We hope it's brought you some One Ring-related enjoyment and also some LOTRO-related enjoyment. Hope that's good. Thank you to my wonderful players who've been excellent. Thank you to John, who's been a wonderful stream manager as always. And thank you to Steve, our asset master, for creating all the lovely backgrounds and intro videos and all wonderful stuff that he's done. If anyone has any comments or questions, possibly but not necessarily related to what we've done, then please pop them in chat, and John will bring them up on stream for us to discuss. Before that happens, let's do some outro promo. So we've got a bunch of links down below. We've got links to YouTube and Twitch. You watch this on one of them, why not check out the other? Give us a subscribe and a follow and all that good stuff. And hey, giving us a paid subscription on Twitch is cheaper than ever in the UK as of yesterday. Yeah. So that's my pitch, and it clearly worked. We also have links to our social media. We've got links to our Discord, which is a lovely, friendly, quite busy place where people discuss all things telling tales and role-playing games. We've got links to our Patreon if you want to sign up over there and support us. We've got a lovely bunch of rewards for you, including patron access to like special areas of our Discord. We've got character creation videos and GM notes and all sorts of lovely stuff. I'm about to publish some GM notes for our Alien one shot. That was the first one we did actually earlier this year, and sometime in the next couple of days I'll put all out on my GM notes on that. I could do them for this as well, but I basically just copy and pasted big chunks of the LOTRO wiki, so value on that. That's our stuff. We run 3 weekly series per week at 8:00 p.m. BST on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Mondays is Call of Cthulhu with the wonderful Johnny as the keeper. Tuesdays is Blades in the Dark with me. And Wednesday is Simbaroom with me. We run one-shots on the first Saturday of every month. That's what this has been. We've got a whole bunch of them if you want to check out the VODs on our YouTube that we've done this year. Alien and Troika and Morkborg and others, Fiasco, Expanse, all sorts of stuff. It's all
Honey Heist.
Honey Heist, yes. We've got a whole bunch of VODs on our YouTube. Check that out. Watch them all. It's really good. Raise our standing in the eyes of the almighty algorithm. And the only thing we do, and it doesn't seem, I guess, worth mentioning that much anymore because we've only got one episode left, but we run a fortnightly Simbaroom stream over on the Free League Twitch, and that's every other Sunday. And the final episode of that will be not tomorrow, but next Sunday. So Sunday the 15th of August-ish. Sunday the 15th of August will be the final one of those in the afternoon. There we go. Lovely friends. Why don't we... and we've got a whole bunch of Twitch followers over the last couple of days, which I'm assuming is all to do with this, because all we've been doing is promo for this. So thank you for... and also lots of them are very Hobbit-like. So thank you for the follows to Throdo Proudfoot, Steve G1000, Twitch 5x5, Arishead Plays. Thank you for the subscription to Painful DM, and thanks for the follows to Judge Magikarp, Fergus Furfoot, I wasn't joking, Abbenhouse, Manolia Cat, Tim Bolton UK, Wergy42, Matt Point Blank, I know who you are, No Rev, Manolia Luna. Thank you very much for all that. And John, comments and questions, please. Please feel free to pop up ones from earlier in the day if they're decent as well. Grey Master, curious to know if any of the players have played LOTRO or this intro quest chain before, or if this is 100% blind for them. Before they answer, obviously I have. I adapted it. I've been playing LOTRO for like 13 years or 14 years.
It'd be really
or
weird if
something
you hadn't.
stupid. So yeah. It would be weird if I hadn't and just randomly decided to do it. But I'll hand over to the players.
I have never played LOTRO, so yeah, I am totally blind to all the twists and turns of this story.
Yeah, same here. Although I am enough of a Tolkien nerd that I at least know some bits, but I haven't explicitly played Lord of the Rings Online either. So,
yep, same here as well. I've not played any Lord of the Rings Online or really know anything about it.
Yeah, same. But also Tolkien fan, but not played LOTRO.
Yeah, as I threw that open to you, I realized I could have just said, nope, they haven't. Yeah, I didn't intentionally get a group who haven't, because I left it open with the crew on who wanted to take it or not. I was quite interested in getting Chris to do it. Chris has definitely played a bunch of LOTRO because he played it with me. We played it for years together. But I think it was a combination of he wanted a weekend off, and he was also like, it's better for people who don't, who haven't played it to play it. But I kind of wanted his reaction to stuff. But yeah, it's fine.
It is quite fun.
Ironically, I don't think he would have played this intro because he's only got an elf there, and this is the intro quest for humans and hobbits. So.
It is quite fun though. Like there is the stuff like about Cobb I wouldn't have guessed at the start, and not knowing that's kind of added a bit fun to it.
Yeah, I think so. I definitely think so.
More twists.
So there we go.
One question I had was, have you found GMing this to be any different because it has like a whole bunch of video game lore essentially already established?
I definitely I don't think I've railroaded you any more than an average traditional role-playing game. But I guess I've been quite invested in you following the general path of the story. But fortunately, you are clever enough players and I have enough experience that I can drop hints and you'll just follow them. So it hasn't been particular, and I think it's quite a simple story as well, right? So it's not like, let me flip that back on you. How much has this felt like an MMO?
I think some of the fetching the getting the bit berries and the things, and
I literally put them in because I wanted the fun of that feeling like an MMO. Yeah.
Oh, you need the poultices now.
Yeah,
Okay.
the only thing that hasn't been quite there is just that it's not a specific number of berries.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I put that in because of that, because that just kind of amused me to do that, and also because we literally have a hobbit botanist.
Oh yeah,
I can't get rid of that stuff.
Yeah.
Another little note that I put in, and this was just for me, the fight with the Wolf Master. There were 4 wolves because you get a quest to kill 4 wolves at the bottom. So I was like, how many wolves were in? 4.
Yeah, and that's the thing
4.
that nearly total party killed us. So
yeah, sure.
Turns out wolves.
So that's what I did. Yeah, I was a bit worried it was going to be quest giver to quest giver sort of thing, and there is an element of that, but I feel it's felt like it does actually flow as well. Like it's felt like it makes sense. So I hope.
I think the only part for me that really seemed MMO, there's a few little things that are quite funny like that. Like the way that the locations have one exit is kind of distinctively MMO. That feels so unusual in the real world to me. Like the beginning area in the fire
with the yard and the yard and the yard. Yeah, that was also a little bit of a that was also a little bit of me making it kind of feel like a video game.
The town has the one exit at the front. It just feels a bit weird that everything takes you down the one street down the front, and that's very video gamey. But it's just like in real life, it's never really like that. And that was it's kind of funny how the shape of places changes a bit.
Absolutely, and I could have taken more steps and made it more, distance it more from that. But I felt that the reasons I didn't do that were just because I kind of liked the challenge of staying as close to it as possible, and also then I might have to give up all the amazing free art I've got from just taking screenshots.
Yeah, I thought that was
incidentally.
Really cool.
This story takes place in an instanced zone that you can after all this is done, you can go back to the area, but the instanced zone looks different because it's over the course of this story. So I hope I didn't just log on and go to the area. I had to create a new character and play through the entire arc to get all the right screenshots. Dedication. John, let's bring John on. John, how many images did I send you for this?
Let me just check. Where is it?
So you know how many John has to choose from in all this, because John's basically got free reign to just pop up.
When you're just like you were just running around
47.
screening every 5 seconds.
47. There are 47 images I took. So
Though I would also like to point, like, how many did you actually take? Because I know you didn't send me all of them.
no, yeah, but what I actually do when I take a screenshot, because stuff is moving and animated, I tend to just hammer the screenshot button. So what I was just deleting was duplicates. So, yeah.
I thought it was kind of good that because there were lots of images of the place, you could have a good sense of kind of the geography of some of the locations, which is at least because the standard role-playing systems that I'm used to are like theatre of the mind very much.
Yeah.
That's a bit different from what I'm used to, but it's kind of cool.
Yeah, and on the one hand, it clarifies things where in your mind you might make them more exciting, but on the other hand, it immediately gives you a sense of place that you don't necessarily have. Or like, and I know that this happens actually a lot, and I think that it's like it happens from person to person differently. But I would actually say that I think you and I often the way I describe things, I think turn up different specifically in Pierre's head to a lot of, because I know a lot of time when we're running things, like Pierre will go, "Oh, I'll do this," and I'll be like, "Oh no, that's." Like and
it's around the back.
yeah, exactly. Like, so I think it does add that extra clarity. Things like Bromway's Folly, like one of my favorite shots I took was across that meadow towards it, and I feel like that's evocative. You know, it helps that Lord of the Rings Online holds up remarkably well graphically.
Yep.
Hi from an Italian lawmaster, currently running 4 campaigns in, that's 5th edition, Adventures in Middle-earth, which was like an old thing. It was very interesting since I'm planning to switch to One Ring 2nd edition ASAP. Well, good. I'm glad. I hope you got some stuff out of it, Magikarp, because, I'm a big fan of One Ring broadly, and I think the 2nd edition improves considerably over the original because it means I don't have to think about difficulty numbers. Because the old one had more traditional difficulty numbers, but in this, it's like, you guys have a target number. I don't care. You just roll. Just tell me if you want. Yeah. It's fine.
I mean, for me, it's been different to the other systems that I've played in terms of that kind of setup. So it's been interesting for me, but still fun, even if I didn't really hit anything during combat. But you
nailed the botany.
Oh yeah. So yeah.
Now there's got to be some bookbinding going on, and we'll just.
Yeah, you've got 5 in bookbinding. So
but to be fair, that's what you get for choosing a hobbit. Like
yes, absolutely.
Yeah. I can't. I'm nearly as bad as you for hitting things, and I'm like the most hitty hobbit I could make. So
yeah, it's hobbits do not mighty warriors make.
This is
have we
something
got
you need
anything
to bear in
else?
mind, Matt, when you're balancing things. These
it is. Oh, I'm gonna go back and rebalance the second half of this based on what I've done. Yeah, absolutely. Have we got? Well, I say that, but you're actually not that battered. Like you did kill things. It just you have to miss a few times first, but it does actually. You did get there. I didn't fudge anything.
Yeah.
Well, I made up the wolves running away, I guess, but it made sense to do so. So yeah. Have we got anything else, John? Next episode, learning crafting and getting a mount. Yeah.
Actually, Steve, I'll think you'll find that'll be the episode after. Because I've recently played it and I know the order of these quests.
Yeah.
So, John, do we win? What happens next?
Spoilers.
Yeah.
I'm not telling you.
And I think Steve also did say, I think the only thing that would have made the LOTRO experience more complete was if the party had stopped by a lake to say how nice the water looks. It does look nice. It still looks nice, remarkably. Yeah.
Although we were having a chat about this earlier, and
farming for 1 hour and then cook for 2.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
This is the important things to be doing right now. The village is in danger, but we have to finish the farming and cooking.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why they don't give you crafting until you're like a chunk in the game, so that you don't get distracted.
So that's what's going to happen when we go back to Cal. We'll go back and say, look, if we help harvest all your carrots in time, then it doesn't matter if these brigands come along. So your farm will have emptied at the place anyway. You'll be all right.
And you know what? I'll actually announce this here because we talked about it earlier today or yesterday, maybe, and yesterday I think, or today. I don't know. I have no sense of real time. But But we talked about it as a group, and I think most, if not all, the people were interested in doing it. So what we're actually going to do, so there's actually, I guess, going to be 3 streams related to this as we go forward. So we'll do a part 2 of this. No idea when that's going to happen yet, but keep tuned. We'll announce it on our Discord, on our social media, and all that stuff. So follow us on that. Follow us on Twitter. You'll find out there at Telling Tales RP, or join our Discord, links below, or just keep an eye out on our Twitch schedule, which you'll also end up on. But we'll do a part 2 of this probably sometime over the next month, maybe in an evening, maybe on a weekend, who knows. But after that, what we will do is we'll do a special stream where the group of us get together and we play through this story in Lord of the Rings Online together. And we'll do some screen sharing. You know, if we do screen sharing, I think we'll quite easily be able to hop between people's screens, because a whole chunk of this story is in like instanced sort of sections, so we'd have to do it solo. But also a whole bunch of it isn't, so we will be able to roam around as a little group. I think. I can't remember how it gets sharded up, but I think we will be able to form a fellowship.
Maybe we'll do some experimenting first, and then
I will look into it first. Yeah, I will look into it first. But I think we'll be able to, and yeah, that'll be fun, right? We'll get to play through the story, and all the group will go, it feels a lot more limited in an MMO, and I'll go, yeah, it was a different time. We were just happy to have a role-playing game. Yeah.
Ideal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sounds good. So
I've actually never played an MMO before, so this will be my first time.
You're in for a treat.
I think.
I mean, I played like RPG video games, but just the sort of
yeah,
kind of thing
the traditional MMO gets short shrift nowadays, and I think I can see why. It's quite a clunky design framework for the most part. There are modern games that do it quite differently, but like a traditional MMO now can feel quite grindy for a lot of people, I think. But I would say with LOTRO, there's a reason I picked LOTRO. It's because I love it. It's one of my favorite video games of all time. And I genuinely think the world building and the graphical design, the design of the landscapes, and the writing, especially early on, is genuinely really good. Like lots of the lines I've been reading out to you tonight, and I hope they felt good, are literally lifted from the video game and do feel very Tolkien. Like literally the line, like the thing Amdir said about, like, you know, trying to persuade people that evil men with evil intentions will do evil deeds. Like, as well as feeling pretty fucking appropriate right now. Also, no politics in the stream, Matt. Also, like, you know, it feels really Tolkien, I think. But it's nice.
Super Tolkien. I enjoyed him. He was every line he said. It's like,
here's something actually which regular players of LOTRO will know, and won't be a spoiler for anyone. What I've attempted to do here is actually recreate an original version of this intro quest, because it was amended years ago now, and basically Amdir is still in it and still performs the same thing, but also randomly Strider is in it helping you. And I feel it massively takes away from the feel of it, and he's also like, look, character, you know, which I don't like that kind of thing in stuff. But basically, Strider's just there, stood next to Amdir going, you need to go do this now. And it's like, why the fuck don't you do it, Aragorn? Like,
I mean,
you're Elisar.
Also, why are you saving this guy?
Yeah.
He does say, I can't do it because I've got other stuff to do. There's a hobbit I need to go chase.
You're the chieftain of the Dunedain. Get fucking moving, mate. Yeah, like... that's another thing to note. The way I've constructed it, this is set in the One Ring setting, which is like between The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings. In Lord of the Rings Online, it's set concurrently with Lord of the Rings. So the Black Rider is looking for Frodo, which is why they're kidnapping hobbits.
Not good.
Yeah, but
we should have killed him, guys. Should have killed him. Should have killed that Black Rider. God.
Oh, I'm sure you could have managed that.
Yeah, you would. Yeah, you'd have sorted it. Yeah, I like doing that scene, and you guys seem to enjoy it as well. So
yep,
it's good. Cool. All right, folks. That's quite enough rambling from us. We hope you enjoyed this. We will catch you for a second part at a later date. But yeah, thanks for joining us. It's been a real pleasure, and take care and stay safe out there. Goodbye.
Farewell.